Normally my schedule is I get up in the morning, I somehow get here. Then when I'm done, I go to YouTube and I upload the stream. Then I go home, I eat. At some point, I take a nap. At some point, I wake up. At some point, I eat again. Although today I did some other form of that. And then I come here and then I make videos that aren't for the public. It's some organization. And then I stream and then I put it on YouTube and then I go to sleep and then always repeat. But yeah, I mean, I ate and then I couldn't sleep. So there was like a 4 hour window and then I ate again and then I went to sleep and I couldn't wake up. And I decided not to make the videos today. I'll just make it tomorrow. So I don't make videos every day, but I have a certain number I'm supposed to make for kids, for people who aren't in school. I just tired and old. Um, so luckily for me, there was no Armageddon. So instead of looking at 10 games like I did yesterday, I'm going to look at 8. Now, I was taught how to put a bar up with the evaluation, which about half of you like and half of you don't. That took less than 1 second. So, and then I actually didn't have to change the scene. There was enough space there where I didn't have to do anything. The bar's just there. So you can see the bar on the left of the board with the evaluation. We'll do it this stream. And then if it's like 90%, don't do that, then I guess I won't do it tomorrow for the live games. Although I'm planning on doing it. So we still won't have the clocks, but that's because we won't have the clocks. I'm not sure if you guys will like the bar. I don't really care. I think most people like the evaluation bar. It's with the COVID going on, you guys know a lot about bars now. So anyway, I watched Naka analyze game 1. Good. Yeah, that's right. Watch as I explain. I didn't have either, so I played King H8. Nice. No, I don't give private lessons. Teak DC, hello. Thanks for the sub. I guess I have to refresh. Can you take the bar off? Nobody likes it. Oh, you can take the bar off if nobody likes it. I thought she just said take the bar. Okay. Bar is good. I have to refresh. So let me read the chat first. $9.99.99. Thanks for not playing horrible music on my stream. Okay. Let me read. I need the bar, working 9 to 5. Okay. If you have to donate 100 centidues to get the train going, and somebody donated 99, otherwise I think we would have a train now. So that's actually funny. Okay, so for 888 Dominic, the reopening of Georgia, thanks, Drew. They're going to open some things. So basically things nobody goes to or cares about. Massage parlors, bowling alleys, barber shops, salons. I mean, just nonsense. So something that 99% of people don't do. That's going to open on Friday. Then on Monday, they're supposed to reopen restaurants. That'll just kill everybody. Now, the thing is, I'm not super opinionated one way or the other. Most of the people who will die and get sick are Trump voters and stupid Southern Republican white supremacist Nazis. So it's funny that the Republicans, white supremacist Nazi party wants to kill their own people. All right. If people want to go out and die, that's fine. I'm not going to participate in that. I'll be here at the chess center where there's no people, and I'll be at home with my family. If people want to go out and kill themselves, all right. But it is weird that the party's killing itself. It's very strange. So I don't know. It's a weird situation to live in where the people who want to have freedom and do whatever they want I mean, that's the party that's letting them do that, or people of their own party. It's very strange. It's a strange time, obviously. But I mean, Republicans are so stupid that they just, they have to like have meetings about what the stupidest thing is, and then they do that. So they can reopen and kill each other, then close, then open again and kill each other and close. It's not really affecting me. I'm not going to restaurants and being killed. So I don't know. It's idiotic. Yeah. On the other hand, I don't mind, if people want to go out and die, okay. All right. What's funny is my mom, who's had her birthday a couple days, 3 days ago. She's 76 now. She never goes out ever. I don't mean because of COVID. She don't ever go out. So I would say in the last 5 years, she's left the house 20 times. Maybe. What is that, like 19,000 days? Yeah. So she hasn't left the house in 6 months. She just doesn't leave the house. So it's COVID, no COVID, doesn't affect my mom. So, tattoo parlor. Yeah. No, not bars. Not bars and bowling alleys. Bars are closed. Possibly on Monday. So, our chess center is closed forever. We're going to open, I don't know, October. I don't know. If I was guessing, I would say we'll reopen in October or November, but that might just kill all our customers and us. So, I don't know. It seems like the right time to reopen is when there's a vaccine. Otherwise, we'll just kill each other. I don't know. It seems silly. A chess club seems like the wrong place to reopen when everybody's standing next to each other and sitting next to each other. So I don't know. I guess it's a good idea. Yeah, whatever. So, the important thing is we all die for no reason. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way, massage parlors, barber shops, always right next to somebody. I don't know. Can you show the engine lines too? I cannot. Yeah, I can say the engine lines. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're not all dead, just people who go to the restaurants and die. That's all. Yeah. 1,000 centidues from Drew. Good. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's going to be 3 or 4 waves of, everybody dying. So, all right, whatever. Truth hurts. Trump makes a lot of statements that don't mesh with his previous statements. I like when Trump denies he said something. I mean, we live in an age where they record everything, so they just show him saying it. But anyway, Trump said yesterday, yay, go Kemp, go Georgia. And then today he said, I don't think they should reopen. What? So, all right. Yeah. I don't know. Now Dimebag, who's on the stream a lot, I think he's on the stream now. I don't think he's asleep, even though it's ass in the morning there. He sent me pictures from the U.S. and he's like, why are these protesters armed to the teeth? And I'm like, I don't know, America. They're protesting the government's open or closed, but they all have like machine guns. He's like, why do they have that? I'm like, I don't know. I guess if you go protest, you better bring your huge guns with you. I don't know. I like the way he said, why are they armed to the teeth? That is a funny way of putting it. I am the same age and size as Ben. You better watch it then. Yeah, if I get COVID, you're going to have to find a new channel to watch. I don't have it yet. So, all right, Drew gave 500 cents. Danny Boy gave 100 cents. They canceled the WSOP. Yeah. And then the Las Vegas mayor says, open those casinos back up. So, yeah. Well, that saved Dominic's life. That's good. Yeah, poker probably doesn't lend itself well to COVID. I mean, it probably lends itself really well if you want to die, but everybody's sitting next to each other. It's probably not a good idea. That's probably worse than chess. Yeah, the WSOP is more crowded than a chess tournament. And people are sitting even closer to each other. Jesus, yeah. Yeah. On their Regium. Good job, J.A. Sean Kemp and the Georgia Bulldogs. Yes. Only 200 viewers? What? When they have a vaccine, we'll welcome you. Yeah, we'll be open then. Yeah. Anyway, Karen and I closed the chess center before all this happened because we knew it was going to happen. We closed, and then Charlotte and St. Louis chess centers closed after us. Because when I say after, I mean like a week or two after. Because we were like, all right, we can't have our members all die, or us. 201 cents dues. Man, we have no donations the last 4 minutes. Maybe you guys are Trump lovers. Go Trump. Remember that Trump plays F3? He was giving me some donations. All right, I have to scroll a lot. COVID. Who would have thought the story of the year, starting with the word co, wouldn't be Kobe Bryant? There's another co that's even more bigger story than Kobe. Didn't think that would happen. Yeah. COVID. Okay, so Magnus made a good joke today. They said, how did you play today? He said, well, in game one, I made a bad move. I played okay after that. And they said, what move was that? And Magnus said knight f6. So he meant on move one. So that's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, the train's not doing well here. We're going to need 10 subs in the next 10 seconds. Yay. The 7% solution. 9 subs? 8 subs? Yeah. Anybody? No? All right, a donation. The train ended. Go donation. $99.99. That's better than the train. Thanks, JAA. All right. That's right. Disconnect could always happen. Yeah. Oh, he'll play it again. What's funny is, more than once, Magnus has played g6, knight f6, knight h5. And he played it in the Olympiad against Michael Adams, and he lost. So he doesn't play that much anymore. All right, so knight f6. Fabi played the 4 pawns. That's not what the top players normally do, but okay, 4 pawns is fine. When I had black in the Alekines before you guys were born, I would play knight c6, bishop f5, e6, castles, bishop g4. He played the other main line, g6. And white got a very pleasant position because white avoids playing knight f3, so the bishop can't pin it. So that strange move was played. Okay, and this is all just better for white. It's not losing or anything for black. Okay, now, I don't like what Fabi did here. And I tell my students not to do this. Obviously, this is a much higher level, so it's not really relatable to what I tell my students. But, speaking like Yasser here, this is the wrong idea. Okay, so, I mean, white's king is here and his bishop is here. So bishop e2 is the best move, then castle. And then, white's better because white has more space. But Fabi decided that didn't matter, and he's going to, get his knight to a great square. That idea is not as strong as it seems because black just plays queen c8. And I think Fabi underestimated that was pretty safe. Okay, now I know never play f6, but in this position with the king on e1 and black castle, black wants to open the center. So unfortunately, f6 is correct. Hopefully that's the top clip of the day. Knight c5, the point of knight e4. And black has 2 good moves here. He can move his bishop or play queen c8. Queen c8 is probably the best. Black doesn't want to trade queens because white's king is on e1. and he's attacking the center. So the engine here wants to sacrifice the e-pawn and play bishop e2 so that we can castle, and says white's better. To me, that's a very strange pawn sacrifice. Okay, I'm not an engine, but all right. So he took on f6, which seems more human. And then after bishop takes, Fabi totally shocked me by sacrificing the exchange. I mean, I know it's my stream, but still. And the engine just plays rook c1 and says white's a little better. But Fabi played bishop e2. The decisions that Fabi made, which were super aggressive, like knight here, and sacrificing the exchange, and taking on f6, engine doesn't like any of them. It says white's better. Ooh, don't do that. White's better. Ooh, don't do that. And eventually it says, okay, white's not better. So these kind of double-edged positions that are sort of weird, I think that's what Magnus wants against Fabi. I think when it's, white playing 25 moves of theory, I don't think that's what Magnus wants. He's just getting Fabi out of his prep and then getting some unusual position, and that's not what Fabi does well. Okay, rook d8 is good. Queen c1's forced. And here, and for a lot of the game, here and the rest of the game, the engine likes this idea of a5, a4 because it activates the rook on a8, which didn't get activated until move 28. But that never happened. Obviously, you could take the rook, but since he doesn't want to give up the two bishops, he played bishop f5 because the rook on a1 is trapped anyway. So the engine likes that move. Bishops are good. Okay, castles. And the only good thing about white's position is this fantastic knight on c5. So he played knight d7, getting rid of it. Frosty Balrog gives money again. All right. Go Rosen. Why is Rosen here? Rosen is here. Thanks, JA928. Thanks, Rosen. Rosen's the best until we play our match. And then I'll have to, be making fun of him until my throat is sore, which it is now. So, COVID. All right. I know why Rosen's here. Even Rosen doesn't know why he's here, but I do. Because Magnus played f6 and he won. Terrible. I'm sure Rosen left like 5 minutes ago, but still. All right. Man, Frosty Balrog, if he keeps giving 100 every 20 seconds, in like 10 minutes, I'll be doing okay. All right. The engine says black's better because black's going to win the exchange. So, all right, knight d3, controlling e5, obviously. And now the rook can go to b1, so he takes it. Takes. Again, the engine wants to play a5, a4, but Magnus plays knight f6, which gives up e5. Knight f6, not an engine favorite. It just gives up the e5 square to white. So it's sort of a strange move. Okay. And the engine says it's about equal. Okay. Now we get to the critical point of the game, which is this position. This is critical point number 1. Black should play rook d2, and the engine says black's better. And I'm at a loss as to why Magnus doesn't play rook d2. I don't know what I can't tell you why he didn't do it. Now rook d2 is better than what he did, and I want to tell you yes, but Magnus thought, but I don't know what Magnus thought. It's hard not to play rook d2. So I got nothing. I don't know. So he played c6, and now after queen c3, black will never play rook d2. Or so I thought, and then Fabi moved his queen away and allowed rook d2. So now the engine actually likes white because black's rooks are ineffectual. Both of them. Okay, so h5 is good. And one of the ideas behind h5 is white could play bishop h8, queen g7 mate as an idea. So Black wants to play king h7 before that happens. All right, now here the engine says white's better if he plays the move c5 with the idea of bishop c4. And the engine prefers white here. Okay. That seems pretty reasonable. But he played queen g3. Oh, he played rook e1. Sorry. Yeah, and now he played queen g3, and this is the last chance to play c5. And the engine says white's better. Queen g3 is very strange because the obvious idea, which he played, is to, go here, which takes a long time. And it also allows rook d2. So I'm not super impressed with the level of this game. However, having said that, the game ends in like 7 more moves, and Magnus plays perfect all 7 moves. So now Magnus played well. He's like, all right, I'll play well now. First part of the game, he's like, But he's like, okay, now I'll play well. So he played rook d2. And once again, the engine wants to play c5, bishop c4. But he played bishop f3, which, frankly, I don't understand that move. Because the bishop can't do anything there. I can't go here. I can't go here. Going back stupid. Going here stupid. Can't go here. So, I mean, I'd rather have my bishop on e2. That way, maybe I'll play bishop f1. Maybe I'll play c5, bishop c4. I don't understand. I don't, all right. Funnily enough, bishop takes h5 is possible. And the reason is if you take it, I have bishop c3, threatening rook takes queen, bishop takes here, and queen g7 check. This seems to fail to rook e2, and black is winning. I thought he could play bishop c3, but just seems to lose. Rook e2, and this is just winning, right? I mean, if I win your rook in the corner, I'm assuming black just checkmates you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can win this rook in the corner, but, I mean, this queen and bishop is going to checkmate you. All right, so you can't do that. Still c5, I think, is the best move. Okay, rook d3, and queen g5 is a terrible move because the queen is needed here to defend the bishop and the h-pawn, which was his downfall. And king f2 is bad. King g3 is losing. I suggested king g3 during the game, so then I knew it was losing because I suggested it. Right. And I mean, basically, we're falling apart here. Once upon a time, white was falling in love. Now he's only falling apart. And here he blundered. He's losing if he doesn't blunder. Black can just slink away here. I mean, white doesn't have any attack, and obviously black has a big attack. And he played queen h6, missing bishop takes h3, which threatens queen g4 check and mate. And also threatens rook takes g2 and mate. It threatens rook takes f3 check and mate. White only has a couple of checks. King here, and there's no checks. And if you take it, it's just a very quick checkmate. All right. 200 cent-to-dos again. So he can resign after bishop h3. He played king h4, rook g2. You can't take with the bishop because queen g4. Okay, I mean, he just fell apart, so he resigned. So the first part of the game was sort of up and down with white better and black better at different points. And then the last 7 moves was just Fabi playing really badly and Magnus playing not really badly, playing really well. And so the final position looks like white just got completely destroyed, which did happen the last 7 moves. But the first 25 moves, that did not happen. This is a 15-minute game. The engine says black's up 75. That's pretty good. Yeah. No, I'm sure Magnus was happy with that. Yeah. Commercials, Frosty Balrog, etc. Double up on the bubble up. Okay, next game. This was the controversial game, which ended somehow. So Hikaru keeps playing the same opening as black, this bishop f4 QGD. And he's had this every game this tournament, I guess. Okay, and then when he played Magnus, the first time he played bishop here, queen c8, bishop here, then he followed it up. I'm sorry, this position. Then he followed it up with bishop a6 next time, and now he's been playing that. Seems like he's saving a tempo. Okay, and then I think Magnus played here, and then he played here, and then I think in the next game, Ali Reza played rook e1. I think Hikaru's had this position 3 times. Okay, so it's not super exciting. I don't like a4. I don't think black should close the queen side. I think black needs the a file to make sure he doesn't get rolled up on the king side. So I think Hikaru agrees with that, and he won't do that anymore. Thanks for the send to dos. Thanks for the subscription. Okay, so basically, yeah, somebody was saying in the chat that Hikaru had this plan and this plan, but he couldn't do them, so he played king h8. That's actually pretty funny. Okay, and then white's been probably outplaying black for the last 10 moves, and black doesn't really have any play. And this would be a good game to have somebody like Karpov from the 1970s have white. And in fact, one idea for white in this position is actually to put his king over to the queen side. And I've actually seen Hikaru do that. And I've seen Karpov do it twice. So white can get some more pieces, over to the king side, like his rooks, his knights, his queen, then walk his king over here, and then start pushing his pawns. That's a very patient idea. I'm older than Ali Reza, so I know every game ever played. He knows every bullet game ever played. So he's better at bullet than I am. And white has to be very patient here because black can't do anything. And that's not really the forte of a 16-year-old. So this was the first mistake of the game for Ali Reza, is instead of slowly building, the engine wants to play knight h4 because that controls g6 and the rook on f1 defends the pawn on f4. He just played e4. And he calculated black can't take this, so he knew that wouldn't happen because, we're too exposed. Actually, e takes d5 is the best move. And the engine says white is plus quite a bit because you can see this isn't defended sufficiently. But e4 weakens f4, so Hikaru just attacked f4. 201 centidues. Yeah, so, now white's probably still better, maybe. But in this position, black just can't do anything, and then e4 is just too fast. Okay, ed5 is good. Knight f. This is all good. These moves are all good moves. I have no complaints. Yeah. And probably Ali Reza thought either this pawn's going to be good, this pawn's going to be captured, or I'll trap the knight. And as long as those things happen, white's better. And white is better. He should take the pawn, but he played knight h4, threatening knight g6 check. Rook here, defending the pawn and stopping the fork. g5 is forced because the knight's trapped. Now the knight has f4, and the knight's hanging. Okay, and the engine says it's about equal or white's better. The engine wants to play f5, knight f6, which I would never consider. Played e5. Problem with e5 is now we can probably save our d pawn. So e5 is probably a mild mistake. And white's better here because white has a passed d pawn. Okay. And that's just good for white. And in this position, Hikaru made a bad move. He should play rook to b3. It should be a draw. Yeah. And now he should play rook to d3. And this is actually a funny tactic. If white goes here, black can just take this, which is a funny tactic. Not sure if he saw that. And the point of rook d3 is to just stops rook c7, so now we can play a3. And okay, he played rook here, which is a mistake. Rook a5, rook c7. Now black's in trouble. So the engine is giving white a close to winning advantage because Hikaru's rook b3, a3 wasn't very good. Both players had about 40 seconds left. After rook check, it doesn't matter much where the king goes. It has to go here. I mean, you don't want to go to the back rank and allow a2 rook here. So basically, this is the only move. I thought I could go here, but it's illegal. So after king here, the engine thinks white's winning because this is hard to deal with. And in fact, the king can't hide on g6 because, I mean, that's going to allow like rook g7 mate at some point. So the engine thinks white's probably winning here, probably. And this is where all the weird shit started happening. Firouzja lost on time here. He had like 40 seconds, and king g3 is the only reasonable move. So he got kicked off the server, and I don't think the people agree right now what happened. It seems to me if it was Chess 24's fault, they should just keep playing the game from here if they can do that. I'm not saying they can. And if it's Ali Reza's fault, he should just lose. And they couldn't really agree. Ali Reza said, I want to replay from here. And Hikaru said, I won on time. So, no. So there was a very long delay, I guess between 30 and 45 minutes. And eventually the players and the arbiter were discussing it the whole time, and the game was declared drawn here. Now, declaring the game drawn is bad for both players. You could argue, Hikaru won on time, he won. Why are we discussing this? You could argue, Chess 24 server went down, which may or may not be true. So, like, Firouzja shouldn't get penalized for that, and Firouzja's winning. So just play from here and Firouzja wins. All right, I don't know. I don't fall on either camp. I don't know what happened. Some people in the chat said if Chess 24 went down, then the other games would have gone down. Now, first of all, there is only one other game. There's the Magnus game, because supposedly, I don't know if this is true either, they're not playing on the Chess 24 server. They're playing on some other server. Their games are being played, which I don't understand. So I don't know. It seems like both players should be unhappy with the ruling, so it's probably the right ruling. Anyway, that ruling got the players to play a second game, which didn't seem like it might happen. Now, to me, the funniest part of this is, at this point, the Chess 24 site said 0-1. It said Hikaru won because Firouzja didn't move here. And then later in the day, when the match was over, this was the only game Hikaru didn't win. So there you go. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Someone said they resumed the game and the players agreed to a draw. No, that's not what happened. Yeah, they didn't make any more moves. The players agreed to a draw, but it wasn't because of the position on the board. So I think if the glitch didn't happen, and Ali Reza played King G3, and whatever did happen didn't happen, probably Ali Reza would have won. Probably. If Ali Reza lost his internet and then lost on time, then Hikaru should have won. If Chess 24 server messed up the game, then a draw is a pretty bad result for Ali Reza because he's plus 2.5. So I don't know. I'm not really opinionated one way or the other because I don't know what actually happened. I don't know if it's 100% Chess 24's fault that the game stopped here, or it's 100% Ali Reza's internet. I don't know. If I did know, and I was sure I knew, then I would have a different opinion of, yeah. It seems like in either case of those things happening, the game's not a draw. But since we don't know which one it is, okay, a draw is fair. And a lot of people in my chat, and I'm sure I'll swear, are very sure of themselves. Oh no, it couldn't have been Ali Reza's internet. Chess 24 sucks, so it's their fault. Or it could have been, no, Chess 24 is up, so Ali Reza should lose. Then there were some people claiming Ali Reza's webcam was working and you could see him being mad. So obviously his internet worked, so it was Chess 24's fault. Then some people said that didn't happen. I mean, I don't know. I'm doing commentary, so I don't know what's happening. Yeah. Very good. Wow. The suits, the very good Pulp Fiction quote. Very good. I'm one of the few people on the earth that recognizes that Pulp Fiction quote. Smorphilicious 200 centidues. Sut Fianaku. Very good. Now that's a Pulp Fiction quote. Good job. Man, I don't even have an opinion. Very good. That's when that's right before Marvin got accidentally shot in the face. Now, as some of you know, if you've watched Pulp Fiction, 50 times like I have, the guy who plays Marvin in Pulp Fiction is actually Hermes in Futurama. A true story. You gotta have an opinion. Now, do you think God came down and stopped? Whoa, what happened, man? He must have gone over some bump or something. I didn't go over no bump. Phil Lamar, correctamundo. Yeah. Man, that was good. I like when you put a line from Pulp Fiction that has nothing to do with anything, but if Pulp Fiction was on, I could just say the lines before they're said the whole movie. No problem. Yeah. Okay, so let's vote in the chat because you guys like doing that. Okay, I don't want you to vote for the result. I want you to tell me, was it Farouja's internet or Chess24 server that messed up? So put it in the chat now. Yeah, he knew Aunt Ginny's name the first time, then he couldn't remember it. It was funny. 200 centidues. As usual, it's 50-50. 500 centidues. Thanks, Ferenz. Dada Ferenz from Florence. Good, good. I think most of the people in my chat thinks it was Farouja's internet. Yeah. His engine froze. If Farouja's internet went down and the game ended and Chess24 was blameless, then he should lose. Which is harsh, but that's just the way it is on the internet. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, the game was decided in round 3 when Farouja was winning and he lost. So that's... Okay, next game. Fabi was black. He played a QGA by transposition. And Magnus played a very safe way. Okay, so in this position, normally white puts the rooks in the center and tries to put some pressure on black. And white has an isolated queen pawn. And black tries to stop the pressure and so forth. But instead, Magnus trade everything to a slightly better endgame with 2 bishops. That's, more Magnus' style, I guess. Not engine approved, but Grandmaster approved. Takes and d5. So we trade all the pieces off, but white has 2 bishops. Okay. Now, here, the engine says it's about equal, but it doesn't like a lot of Fabi's next moves, and Fabi gets a bad position as a result. Fabi broke my rule of never trading here. The engine just wants to play rook to d8, and If you take, I take with the bishop, and the b pawn's attacked, and okay. He took this, which the engine doesn't like very much. And here, it's the same thing. Either move the queen or play rook d8, but he traded, which makes this bishop pretty strong. And maybe Fabi thought, it's pretty equal. The two bishops don't matter very much. Carlsen, Karpov's not even here, but I just brought him up. And the engine do not agree. And they think both of these trades on d5 are inaccurate for black. So, I don't know. Maybe chess just isn't Fabi's game. Maybe he should have a spelling contest with Magnus. Thanks for the sub. Yeah, I mean, this position is just very difficult for black because it's a pretty good bishop. Pretty good. Okay. And Magnus doesn't mind if he takes this because rook b1, rook takes b7 is quite annoying. That bishop's pretty good. Okay, rook fd8, king f1. And now he played rook d7 because he wanted to take the pawn, and he's defending his b pawn with his rook, and he can double rooks on the d file. Okay, and the engine wants to take this and mess up black's pawns, but Magnus likes his two bishops, so he played bishop f3, and I mean he's got two bishops, two bishops. He's got two bishops. It's called two bishops. Yeah. So, Rick and Morty, obviously. Okay, rook d8. Take. Rook c1. So, now the problem with taking is I can take on c6 right away. And then I'm threatening checkmate. And I'm threatening the a pawn. And so I win a pawn. I'm up a pass pawn. So he still can't take on b2. He plays rook d6. The engine liked bishop c5. Or he played b4, I think, right? Yeah, here the engine liked bishop c5, but he played rook c5. And I thought white was giving most of his advantage away here by trading everything. But I think Magnus just thought this was an easy win because he walks his king up and takes this pawn. And, that's what he did. So, yeah. So, I mean, he just sort of won without any difficulty, considering he's playing, Caruana. Caruana's a tough opponent. Yeah, and here's the last mistake, king d6. What he has to do is trade, move his king to the d file, and then at some point, when he takes this, play king c5 and keep the king trapped in here. And this is probably still winning for white, but it's not easy. Because after here, black's going to be in zugzwang. Black can never move his king because I play here. If he moves his knight, I can play here. So this is also winning for white. I can attack this pawn. This is also winning. But it's probably better to keep the king trapped on a5 as long as possible. But he didn't do that. He just took on b6. I'm sorry. He just played king d6. So now the king just gets out. Yeah, and then he resigned. And the engine says, you can see what the engine says. It's going up. Yeah. The engine's really excited for white's position, so, when it gets excited, yeah. Maybe the engine should think about baseball. But, yeah, these pawns are, not so good. Pass pawn. And this pawn is the correct color. So that was sort of like Magnus beating up on me. He got a slight advantage, made it a clear advantage, he made it a winning position, and black didn't make any threats that game. I mean, it was sort of like, it was, as Maurice would say, that was just smooth. Magnus won like he was a lot better than his opponent. So, Fabi doesn't want to lose like that, go down like no punk. So that was not a good game for Fabi, but Magnus played pretty well. Especially when it's 15 minutes. Not 3 times. She's not a werewolf. A stabbing motion. But you got to get through the breastplate. 100 centidues. Sexy merch. Correct. Yay, it's the same merch as before. Yay, it's, Rufus and Doofus. And then there's the Twitch page and so forth. Buy merch. You guys bought a lot of merch one day, then you stopped. Good, good. You guys are good at stopping buying merch. Heiser Heinz, 100 centidues. Good, good. Garcon means boy is correct. Got my stimulus. The more you donate, the more stimulus you get. Yeah, my voice, I'm losing my voice. There we go. There's some Karen pretending to buy merch. Good. Yep, I knew it. Yeah, the triplet is somewhere else. Yeah. All right, we're halfway there almost, living on a prayer. Okay. So Queen C2 is a pretty unusual move in this position. Normally it's castles, D takes C4. And very double-edged game. The engine said black was equal or better the whole game. B3, A3. I'm not a big fan of that for white. Okay, so black has a pretty good position. And black's first, I won't call it a mistake. Inaccuracy is D3. White doesn't want these pawns here forever. After D3, the pawns can't move, so white can attack the pawns and get rid of all of them, which is what happened. So D3 is probably the first inaccuracy. If black puts the rook in the middle or plays F5, black's better. Okay. And these moves are all reasonable. All makes a lot of sense. I don't like Queen E5. The engine says it's okay. I don't like Queen E5. Again, Rook D8 defending the D pawn, or Bishop E2 defending the D pawn. I don't like this move. Okay, and this ending should be a draw. This is all fine. This is all equal. Yeah. And this is fine. Yeah. And here I don't like what black did again. And I mean, this reminds me of what MVL did against Nepomniachtchi yesterday. I mean, there's this beautiful pass pawn on the 6th rank. There's really obvious Rook D8, and he doesn't do it. Rook E4 is not good because this trade just favors white, and now white's better. White's going to play Rook D7, and then Knight D6, or Knight H6 check. So, I mean, I don't, that's a very poor decision, Rook E4, Rook G4, like giving up this pawn for this pawn. And one of the reasons is the rook gets to go to D7. So you're trading, this pawn's better than this pawn, and the rook going to D7 is obviously better than this rook. So the engine says A5 is equal, and rook here is equal, and bishop takes is equal. This is just better for white, because if white does this and this, he's going to win. Okay, and A5 was an excellent move, and rook G3 is excellent, and after defending correctly, after his silly rook E4 to G4, now he blundered. And I talked about this on this stream. He has to take this pawn, and the engine says white is slightly better. If he plays knight here, discovered check, knight takes, pawn takes, and then B6. And black's going to be down a pawn, but this king can get checked quite a bit. It's hard to find a place to hide. The more the engine looks at it, the more it thinks is a draw. And one of the lines is actually quite funny. After rook C2, which the engine considers best, I like this move, rook E6. That's a funny move. Although now it's saying like this is a dead draw, rook A6. Rook F8's a dead draw. It's saying all zeros. It says that white's not even better here. Rook C8. I mean, that pawn's not going to queen, so white's going to have to get his king up here, and that's not going to happen because I can always check. And yeah, so this is actually, everything draws here. If I was playing the game, I would think white has an advantage. White has an extra pawn, but the engine does not agree. So if black played 3 or 4 more accurate moves, he would have drawn. And a takes b4 is the beginning of that. But he made like the worst move. And of course, when you're playing 15-minute chess and both sides get down to less than a minute, the level of play is not good. It's really bad. So, you're able to think a little bit on your moves. You're able to play your preparation. You're able to play solid. And then you both have 30 seconds left for like the next, 20, 30 moves. So there's just too many mistakes. So black was better. And then Hikaru equalized. And then when Hikaru was equal, Ali Reza played badly and got a worse position. And now he has to draw this worse position. And he played king e8, which is like the worst move on the board. Yeah. And after rook takes pawn, now we're threatening knight here check and rook f8 mate. And the king really needs to be able to go to g8 to safety. The king is really unsafe on e8. You can't allow knight d6 check. Now what's weird about this is if you're Ali Reza and you play king e8, what move do you think white's going to play here? Rook takes b7. There's like no other move. And then, you resign. So king e8's really bad. It's just like a bad move. There's no, it's not a 2750 level kind of move. It's like I attack the rook goes here, and I resign. So that's pretty bad. Yeah, and he resigned here because white's going to play b5, or white's going to win a rook, or both. So yeah, that wasn't good. I've probably played Ali Reza in Arena Kings. I can't prove it, but I probably played him. I don't know. Seems like somebody I would play. Yeah, he rages at Overwatch. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, king e8's a really bad move because the only move for white is rook takes b7, and then you resign. The king's much worse on e8 than f8, because when the king's on f8, you can play king g8, and your king is safe. On e8, you're getting mated, so that's no good. Even like in this position, if my king was here and it was black to move, I'm not sure black's losing. I'm not sure. I play a takes b4, rook comes down with check. You know what I mean? But here, you can't, the king's a lot better here. So king e8's a very bad decision. Yeah. I lost to Magnus in the Pro Chess League. Yeah. Okay. Then game 3. This was a fantastic queen, 3 pieces for 2 rooks game. This is what Magnus did against Nakamura. Yeah. So I think rook a7 wasn't played. I think he played here. I think he did. Nakamura did against Magnus. That's the game Nakamura won, where he played f5, f6, and his rook went in, and his queen, and he won a piece, and he mated him. That was the game that ended in checkmate. Okay, so I guess Fabiano prepared this because Magnus has been playing this line. And doesn't mean that he got a good game. Now, in this position, the top computer moves were all insane. And Fabi played a really boring move. So like c4, bishop takes d5, and rook takes e7 are all the computer moves. And they're all like about equal. They're just all crazy. So, I don't know if Magnus or Fabi knew this position. I'm not sure if they knew this exact position. Probably not. After thinking for about a minute, Stockfish wants to play c4. Obviously, a position's sort of nutty. Okay, he played c3, which is, more boring, obviously. And then Magnus played bishop g4, which is not boring. So that's good for us. So the line that he didn't play was the engine move is to take. He didn't do that. Check, obviously. And I was saying earlier in the broadcast when the games were live, if he plays queen b6 now, white plays bishop e3. So that's the point of bishop g4, is to remove the queen from defending e3. He took the knight, but this is the variation I wanted to look at. And, okay, knight here is a threat, so you have to take. You could take on g7 or play knight to d2, or play f5. What does the engine say? Queen g7 is equal. f5 is slightly better for white. Knight d2 is better for black. So the engine likes f5. And it's just unclear. The engine is moving its evaluation around. It's like, I don't know. So white's down in exchange, and obviously white has a pretty nice position with these pawns here. The king on e8. So this could have happened. And instead of taking the bishop, Fabi took on e7, and this gives him 3 pieces for 2 rooks. Thanks for the raid, Planet Chess Club. Yeah, Planet Chess Club. I don't know much about your chess club, but I know you're very tall. Very tall. Very tall. I was talking to you at the World Open a couple of years ago, and I remember just like, hello. Yeah. He's a great musician? Okay. That I didn't know. Oh, he's tall. How tall is OCC? You know me? What? Great musician. What? What happened? Yeah. Planet Chess Club, how tall are you? He's very tall. He's between 6'3" and 7'3". He's right in there. He's taller than me. He's taller than me too. Yeah. Remember when there was a World Open and the world was open? I'm 6'5", he is 6'8". Planet Chess Club says he's 6'5", and you say he's 6'8". See, you're taller than you thought you were, Planet Chess Club. Yeah. 6'5" is pretty tall. Most people aren't 6'5". Yeah. I'll send you the pic. All right. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not 6'5", so I had to look up. Yeah. Okay. So he played rook takes e7 check, and that gives us our material imbalance that happened in the game. This is all forced. And then white has to play queen d1 here, because queen here, and queen here are annoying. So he played queen d1. So we have 3 pieces for 2 rooks. The rooks are no good, and the pieces are no good. So both sides have to, get their stuff going. And the engine, of course, is confused. Man, you're one of the best players in the world when every move you and your opponent make, the engine's like, I don't know, leave me alone. Yeah. Usually the engine's like, look, dude, that move hangs a queen, that hangs mate in 10, that blunders a pawn. And when these guys play, the engine's like, I don't know, it's too hard. Yeah, I mean, the evaluation changes every 10 seconds as to who has the advantage here. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Why not queen to g7? God damn, I just said black's threatening checkmate. Checkmate's annoying. Queen g7 doesn't prevent that too much. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was always tall, even when he was born. I have a friend who's about 1,700. He lives in California, doesn't play in tournaments anymore. He's 6'5", and his wife's not tall. His wife's 5'3" or something. And when they had their first kid, he was so tall that they have a chart where they measure what percentage you are. No, they needed a new chart. Yeah, he was the tallest kid who ever lived for 1, 2, 3, 4. And when he was 3, they were really upset because they thought when he went to school, they would think he's dumb because they would think he's 14 years old when he was 5. So they would think there's something wrong with him because he's as tall as the teacher. So I think his son is 6 now or 7. Let's see how old. No, his son has to be 7 now. Yeah, so his son's probably, taller than me. Man, yeah, the truth hurts. Yeah. Kobe. Yeah. But yeah, he said that kid, there was no percentile. He was just way above it. So I guess some people are tall. All right. After thinking for like 4 minutes at depth 30, the engine says black has a big advantage after castles. Okay, which may change as the game goes on. Now, my personal experience, and you can find this game on the internet, I'm sure somebody will paste it here. In approximately 1991, I might be right, probably not. I played in Vikonsé, which is now Tata Steel. I think then it was Hogovens. I played against Paul van der Ster, the Dutch Grandmaster. And we played a really, really sharp exchange Slav, which doesn't make any sense. And at some point with black, I played knight a1. There wasn't a rook there. I just played knight a1. And I thought I was winning by force, and I missed a move. I missed a tactic, and it ended up 3 pieces versus 2 rooks. The position was totally blocked, so my rooks were useless, and I just got destroyed. Very interesting game for you guys. Van der Ster and Feingold, probably 91, probably. Van der Ster's tall, he's Dutch. Yeah, what do you want? Yeah. Yeah. No, my favorite tall story, I mean, I have several. I've said this story on the stream before, but some of you are new. I was in Chandler, Arizona at a cheesecake factory with my friend Randy, and I said, that guy's really tall, like across the restaurant. And my friend said, well, he's standing on something. And I said, he's walking. And he goes, oh. And then the guy sat us. The guy came said, how many too? And he sat us. And then a woman came who was the server. And I said, how tall is that guy? And she said 6'11". Most people aren't 6'11". Yeah. I thought he should be like president of the earth. And he was a waiter at Cheesecake Factory. So 100 centidues. Yay. Before you were born. Yeah, that was a very interesting game. Okay, so after thinking a long time, Fabi made the best move, bishop to d2, d4, and what does the engine want to do? Wow, the engines want to play f6, never play. And now the engine says it's equal. So the engine said after castles, black had a big advantage. After bishop 2 said it's equal. Now it says black has an advantage again, with either rook a8 or f6. We played d4, which makes sense. Yeah, and obviously anything can happen here. Queen c1 is the only move. And, I mean, the game's really interesting. Now the rooks are actually very good. These are some good rooks. Yeah, my favorite move here from the engine was f5, because if black takes the knight, bishop takes h7, check wins the queen. So if he plays f5, he stops bishop takes h7 check, and yet the engine liked f5. Because then if you take, which you should do, then f6. Threatening bishop takes check, and queen g5 is annoying, and so on. And the engine actually says this is equal. It says queen here is forced to go to f8, and somehow this is all zeros. I don't know how. But, yeah, so f5 was interesting. He played knight d1 to play knight e3 and defend his bishop and save his knight. He should have played queen b1 here. Queen f1 sort of lost the tempo. But, all right. And yeah, this was queen a5, rook c3 weren't very good. And rook c7, I think, is not very good either. And, white's just better. 2 pieces for a rook. And let's see, I thought he missed one winning chance. Yeah, in this position, Fabi, this is probably the only time in the game where Fabi was close to winning. He could have played queen a2. Now, obviously, if I take that, it's going to be good. And the idea is if you take this, I can block with the queen. So the queen's doing double duty. I don't know if this position's a win, but this is a billion times better than what he did. So this might be a win. And then if I do this, I know I'm winning. So Queen a2 might have won the game, maybe, because we're threatening the rook and we're threatening queen takes, and we stop rook f3 because we have queen g2. I'm assuming he just didn't see queen a2. The engine likes white quite a bit. So maybe Fabi would have won if he played queen a2. Maybe. I'm not sure if he's winning, but he might have won the game. And unfortunately, what happened to him was they did something similar, except rook takes f3 was just a draw. Yeah, and then... And he played this, and then rook takes f3 is just a dead draw. Because you can't escape the checks. And if you do, you lose all your pawns. So draw. If you escape the checks now with king e2 or king e1, then I check and take your pawn. So like king e1, for example, I check here. And if king e2, I check here. And, okay, it's going to be a draw, but the black's better there. So they just repeated and drew. So that was a fascinating game where I think Magnus had the winning chances, and then Fabi did, and then it was a draw. I think draw's a fair result there. Is that my game? Yes, that's my game. Oh, it wasn't knight a1, it was knight a2. Yeah, knight a2 on move 14 was pretty cool. And what happened was, when I played bishop e1 on move 22, I missed rook takes e1 and knight b3. I just didn't see it. Yeah. Yeah, it was knight a2. I got confused as usual. Yeah. Okay. And then we got Firouzja. And this was the tragedy of the tournament was they played the same opening. White got the same advantage. And in the first game, he played knight a4. And I think Magnus played rook c1. And now he played rook e1. Yeah. And in this game, Hikaru correctly refrained from playing b5 too early. Yeah, I like keeping the pressure there. So this is pretty much equal, I think. Yeah. And in this position, it's been about equal the whole game. And this position, I don't like what Hikaru did, but he probably thinks it's okay. He just plays queen d7, it's equal. But he gave him the pass d pawn. Okay, so that I don't like that decision, because now only white can win, or so I thought. And Firouzja played really well. I mean, he got a winning position. He pushed his kingside pawns. He outplayed Hikaru. He got everything he wanted. Yeah, this was really good play from white. He's got two pass pawns. Bishop f2 doesn't make a lot of sense. He should just play h5. And he's got the two pass pawns. The king is exposed. It takes away g6 for the knight. So I don't like Hikaru making his queen passive here either. Yeah. So this is just really good for white. And he moved his king around doing nothing. Good. Yeah. Yeah, only white can win here. And the engine says white's winning. And here he lost his way. I mean, obviously, both sides have less than a minute here. It's move 55. And the engine says every move is good. I don't understand bishop f2. I guess he thought the queen's going to come in here somehow, and then the bishop blocks on the 7th rank. I don't know. But obviously you want the bishop to defend your h-pawn. I mean, his h-pawn's got to be defended. So that's a bad move. And then here he blundered. He's still probably winning white. Yeah, he should play something like king f3, getting out of the checks, or play bishop e3, defending his pawn. But he played queen e4, and if you go back, if he plays queen e4 in other positions, black can play queen d7. So since Naka played knight d7, Firouzja thought it was time to attack the c-pawn. Unfortunately, after f5, which you don't want black to play, you want black to never play f5 and push his two connected pass pawns. If he takes on g6, which he could do, now it's just a draw. In fact, it doesn't matter where he goes, it's a draw. But yeah, losing this with check, and then there's perpetual check everywhere. Black also has two passed pawns. Black can get an attack on the white king. Both kings are so exposed, it's going to be like double perpetual check. And Firouzja didn't want to draw because he just lost the last game, and he's been winning the whole game. So he just obviously was upset after f5 because he realized queen c6, queen g6, he's not winning anymore. And so queen e4 is just an incredibly bad move. So it should still be a draw, but he made like the worst blunder I've ever seen. This is still a draw. This is a draw. This is a draw. It's all a draw. And in this position, black played knight b8. And I'm thinking, in Firouzja's mind, maybe, he thought Hikaru was going to play knight b8 to d7 and the game's a draw. Not realizing that, knight a6, knight takes pawn's a good idea. An idea that can never work, because if you play knight a6, I can defend my pawn. If my bishop's on d8, I can play bishop a5. If my bishop's on this diagonal, I can play bishop e1. If my bishop's on this diagonal, I can play bishop d2. And Firouzja played bishop e7. I mean, that's worse than the way you guys play. That's just non. It doesn't even necessarily lose. Like, it might lose, but it gives up a b pawn. I mean, that's an important pawn because black has a passed pawn. So that's just like nuts. Like, I don't know. It can only be explained with he has 30 seconds and he's just playing random legal moves. Yeah, it's just, I mean, that's just like horrible. And then he lost without a fight because obviously he's upset now. He was winning. He allowed f5 drawing and now he allowed knight b4. So psychologically he's crushed. And he lost sort of without any hope. Okay, and then he resigned. The engine says, well, you see what the engine says. It says like plus 60 for black. So that, I mean, bishop e7, knight a6 is like, and after that he couldn't play anymore. The last game was embarrassing. He actually didn't, he just moved instantly every move. Now, I said before I knew, why are they playing game 4 of the 4-game match when the match is over? And the reason is for tie breaks. Well, tie breaks are only important if you're coming in the top 4 and you're fighting for one of the top 4 spaces for the next round. Firouzja's not coming in the top 4, and he knows that. So game 4 meant nothing to him. It had no meaning. So he just moved instantly and resigned. All right. If Firouzja won the game or drew the game, it wouldn't affect his tournament standing in any way. And probably if he just played 3 good games and lost the match and he was losing, like what happened to Fabi. Fabi was down 2.5-half, but they were like normal games. And Fabi just played a normal 4th game. But Firouzja's like, the first game was got disconnected and forfeited and then drew. And then he has this winning ending and he blunders and loses. And then he's drawing the second game and he blunders and loses. So I think he's had enough. So the last game he didn't even try. All right. And then you guys can get mad at him if you want. But whatever, I'm sure Naka was happy about it. Yeah. All right. And then these games didn't matter for the result of the match. But this had a really good end. The end of this game was good. And there's a player who's about 2,200 in Atlanta who comes to our club all the time, and he plays A3 here. Okay? And he played H3. Carlsen, which is a funny move. Black is in Zugzwang. Okay. And this happened, so forth. G takes is a weird move. I agree, but it's okay. Just castle queenside. All right. And this game wasn't very well played. This takes in c3 is not good. I don't like Caruana taking this rook when white's king is no good. White's king's at the center. He can't castle queenside. And if he castles kingside, there's an open g file here. So I think he should play queen e6. Okay. And this is just equal. And there was a double blunder here later. and it happened in this position. Um, when did it happen? Yeah. So in this position, black should play rook h5 and he's equal, attacks this pawn, defends this pawn, and the engine says all zeros. If he played king f7, now he's in trouble. And Magnus figured out how, but then he didn't figure it out. He played knight g5. Now, I suggested rook h5, but it's illegal, but I still suggested it. The guys are pretty good. And after h6, Magnus missed knight f7, which I don't understand. I don't know. I mean, knight f7 threatens this. It threatens this. And white's much better. So I don't know. I'm not saying white's winning, but, this is a big advantage for white. And what he did was just all zeros. So I don't know. If you take it and I take, it doesn't matter whether white wins or not. You take white here all day. This rook is a lot better than this rook. This pawn's weaker than this pawn. So, maybe white's winning. I don't know. Maybe. But I don't know why he didn't play knight f7. He played knight f3. And now after knight f4 or knight e7, it's equal. So it was just strange he didn't play knight f7. I don't know. And again, the match is over, so maybe the players are relaxed. They're not 100% focused because the match is over. All right. It's funny, the tie breaks don't matter to Firouzja because he can't finish in the top 4. And the tie breaks don't matter to Magnus because he's definitely finishing in the top 4. So it just doesn't, tie breaks don't matter for those two. Could matter for Fabi. All right. And the problem with moving this rook to some other square is black has this perpetual check. So he can't do that. Check, king e2, check, king e3, draw. So he played h4, and then he forced his rook to move away from the g line. And then he would play this perpetual check. And Magnus played king e4, so he doesn't allow this knight check. And now there's two really beautiful draws, and luckily Fabi played the more beautiful one, knight d3. This is really cool. Obviously, if you take the rook, and white takes the rook, obviously white's better here because white's king is better. White's winning a pawn. And after this, black's threatening to play rook check or knight here check, and this rook is hanging. And after check, king e6 is a really beautiful draw. This is really nice. The reason rook takes f5 draws is what happened in the game, but first Magnus played this, again hoping to get his king in, that he took, and this is a perpetual check. Pretty funny perpetual check. You can't allow king takes rook, so you have to go here. And then it's pretty funny, actually. So that game was really cool at the end, although Magnus missed a chance with knight f7, but probably neither player cared very much. Fabi's going to need those tie breaks. Fabi's going to come in second, third, fourth, so it'd be good to have good tie breaks. And the players played sort of silly in the last Hikaru game. b4 is a silly move, but it's okay. It's just super grandmaster chess. b4 has probably never been played. And queen d8 is a very strange move. And in this position, white has good compensation for a pawn. And he played 2 blunders in a row and then resigned. He played c5, which is really bad. He should either play c6 or knight bd7, and it's about equal. And after d5, white's just crushing black now. The white's just like rolling over black. So c5 is terrible. And again, I was told Firouzja just moved instantly every move. He just didn't care. So c5 loses. E takes d5 is bad. And then he made a 1-move blunder and resigned here. White's winning here. White's like +2. But the only move is knight takes d5. There is no other move. And then after either queen takes or bishop takes, white has a great position. But he blundered with this. And now knight takes bishop and knight takes f7 win. He played knight takes f7. And you can see the engine evaluation. Yeah. And he resigned. I think Ali Reza, that game ended like in less than a minute. So he just didn't care. pretty good tactics for white because all these pieces are hanging. So, and then this bishop is on with this king, and this rook is here. So he's really getting crushed here. I showed some of the variations at the live broadcast, but the main variation is takes, check, takes, and white's just up a piece for nothing. If you take with the king, there was some funny checkmate here. The engine plays king g8, but this ends up, it's funny because every knight move, knight here, and knight here, the engine announces mate in all of them. And this does look like Morphe doofus, like this. This looks like a Morphe game. Knight takes is the quickest mate, but these moves also lead to mate, and black's king just keeps walking up the board. And then if rook takes, you take this, threatening queen takes queen. It's checks, you have to take, and then rook takes, and then, okay. Rook takes as a threat. If the queen moves away from D, I guess the queen can't move away from D8. And the engine, you can see what the engine says. So, yeah, I mean, this is obviously ridiculous, frankly. And now, and only now, does Hikaru like bishops better than knights. Yeah. So, I mean, Ali Reza didn't try that game. Another way to win easily is to take on e7 and then play knight f7. That's also winning, obviously winning, because you got, this. Ali Reza just didn't care. So that's one of the vagaries of the system is the match can be over after 3 games. They play the 4th game anyway for tie-breaking reasons. 999 centidues. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah. So there we go. That was today's thing. Tomorrow are the 4 players people are slightly less interested in. Although, I don't know, MVL and the Pomniachtchi are pretty exciting. So, and then we can see if Giri will win a game tomorrow. There's 4 more games tomorrow for Giri, I guess. Giri hasn't played in a couple of days, so I assume he plays tomorrow. I don't know who plays tomorrow, but whoever plays tomorrow, that's what happens. Yeah. You guys know, right? You guys in my chat? You 420 people. Yeah, I think he's living in France now. Farouja. I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I think that's what's happening. Yeah. Who's playing tomorrow? What are the 2 matchups? Anybody? Anyone? Anything? No. Aw. No, nobody knows. Nobody's telling me. All right, who should I raid? Am I going to raid him again? Hikaru's streaming. That's funny. I guess I'm raiding him. Yeah, all right. I raid you, you raid me. Yeah, I lost my voice completely. Obviously. Did I eat all my cough drops? 358 centidues. It's a very specific number. MVL Ding, Giri Nepo. That's good matchups. Yeah. Good. Etc. Yeah. MVL Ding will be great. I agree. Yeah. All right. See you guys tomorrow, 10 a.m. in 11 and a half hours. Bye.